There we go.
Wait, Johnny.
Okay, we're on.
James normally does all the Zoom recording elements, so I'm currently like in his Zoom account. That's why it says his name by my face. And
I was wondering if our technical ability had gone down a couple points because we're missing James.
I think like look, it's one thing. I spent a fair amount of time learning how to record music, like as you guys both also know how to do. Vocals, guitars, drums, editing, comping, mixing. I can do it from start to finish now. And then
bass playing,
bass, everything. Yeah. Bass. I can record a bass. What do you want? DI, amp, blend.
Important.
I could do it all. Anyway, but now I'm expected to know how to record a Zoom meeting, both video and audio components, which is, it's a whole new learning curve.
Is it safe to say that James is part of the technical end of your duo partnership here? He's the engineer, really, of the sessions?
He was for many years, but believe it or not, I edit the pods now. We switched roles. Okay. I don't know how many, this is a kind of behind the veiled curtain here of our show, but I used to handle Instagram and James would edit and post the show. And we switched a few months ago just to kind of spice things up in our podcast relationship.
Let's be honest. How much editing is there really on a podcast? I mean, I've always wondered this. Someone's like, I got to edit the podcast. Aren't you just like kind of, come on?
Oh, Martin,
how hard can it be?
Meticulous hours of meticulous editing, combing through, making the comedic timing better, moving jokes around,
mastering.
Throwing some compressors on there.
Oh,
there's a limiter on this whole thing. By the time you're hearing this on Spotify, Johnny has spent hours signal processing, mixing,
effect throws.
I've got some light compression on my end over here.
Yeah,
a little light compression.
What are we talking about here? Kind of a 1176 kind of feel, or
it's no. Oh. It's an LA2A.
That's what I have going on mine as well.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there you go.
Two distressors. Two. Always two distressors.
Double distressor. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll be compressing all of our vocals together as well. No, there's we have some secrets that make our podcast kind of the top technical podcast going. We like to think that I can't really say, but let's just say there's a few tricks to the trade that I implement that give our podcast that sort of signature flavor. Takes me about 10 minutes.
Crispy.
It takes me about 10 minutes per episode.
You're probably tired. You're tired of hearing this because I know it's all the rage now, and the growth level of the pod has really taken off in recent years, weeks, and months. But I played a big important. It's true. It's the metrics don't lie.
Yeah,
I look at the numbers. Wait,
where do you see numbers? Podcast
I wish you
numbers?
Could send them to me because I've
just
never
Instagram
numbers.
Instagram followers.
I'm
just constantly. Yeah,
okay.
I'm constantly checking iWall against Joker Men and seeing who is leading the IG follower war. That we're all in together.
Yeah,
but no, I just wanted to say that I played a very important show to me last week in New York City with my jam band, Taper's Choice, which is not what we're here to talk about. But
TM. Somebody
came up to me after the show in a Grateful Dead t-shirt, a really heartfelt fan, a person who stayed for the whole show, and he was like, "Hey man, this is going to sound crazy, but I actually first heard of you through iWall."
Wow.
And then I started listening to your stuff, and so
then I checked out the Grateful Dead, and then here I am.
Love that. You're bringing us exactly.
We've entered another the next level of meta, where excellent.
You guys, let me just take just because James isn't here doesn't mean we can't be professional. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you. This is a big honor for me because not only do we have iWall favorite Alex Bleeker on the show, but we also have the great Martin Courtney of real estate here, and Alex's own song brother. And Martin, we've been wanting to have you on for a long time because you and I go way back. And
we sure do. It's finally, is all I can say.
Yeah. And I reached out. I felt a bit lonely. I was like, James is in England at the moment. He's at an Americana festival right now in London, which I can only imagine the tears flowing in that room at the news of Garth going at an Americana festival.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was the final living band member. That's actually wild to me. It's obvious now, but yeah, that is. And yeah, I know that
the band is gone. And are they jamming together in rock and roll heaven? Probably not.
You think not? You think not?
Well, is Robbie?
Maybe some
is
of
Robbie
them
there?
are in rock and roll heaven.
Is Robbie there?
It's
just a question. I'm not making
Robbie's
it
there.
Robbie's
okay,
there.
Robbie's there.
They're all there.
Okay. They're all there, but maybe rock and roll heaven means all the wounds are healed and everything's patched up. Of course they finally can jam because it's heaven.
They're homies.
I'd like to think that it's kind of let's let bygones be bygones when you get there. It's like they walk in there. Garth gets up there. He's like, I'm in kind of a wooded area. Where is this? And he's kind of in the forest, and he's walking, and then he pushes a bush aside, and there's Big Pink.
Yeah.
But it's 1968.
And his organ, like the chair is there. It's all of them.
It's there.
Looking back at him, and his chair is open, and they're like, we've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you. And it's all at the start. It's really good. And then they just count off.
Come in, brother.
King Harvest.
Step right up.
Yeah.
He just got chest fever. He plays the chest fever solo, and they just go.
Yeah. We were just about to do chest fever. You're right on time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But I was just wondering at this Americana festival, like, who's going to be the first person to get up there and do the weight or something, and just be like, for Garth. But
I think it's going to be more like the last thing, and everybody's going to take a verse.
Of course.
It's like everyone on stage kind of situation.
Sort of like we used to do with Only Love Can Break Your Heart back in the day.
Well,
similar
tell
energy.
the people about it.
People probably know about it. I think we've probably talked about it with you, Bleeker, but when we did the Big Shiloh's real estate tour back in, 2014 or something, we ended a few of the shows with Neil Young's Only Love Can Break Your Heart. And I think it took 2 or 3 shows for us to get it right. But then by the last time, I think it was really good.
We nailed it in L.A., right?
In L.A., we nailed it finally. But I feel like there was another time that was... How do you remember it, Martin?
Honestly, I have a horrendous memory. I don't remember it, but I remember doing it. I just think it's funny that it took us a while to get it right because it's kind of a perfect cover because it's such a simple tune and everybody knows it. But you get up there on the stage, you start sweating. Palms get a little sweaty.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It could have been a sound issue of some kind. Somebody couldn't hear. I think there's a couple tricky. Even though it's one of those songs that even though there's only 3 chords, it kind of goes to them at weird times and stuff.
You nailed the vocal, the hardest part. That's the thing that I really.
I was honored by singing the lead vocal.
Johnny. Yeah, and we needed a Canadian.
You can. It's a thing. If you're in Canada, you sort of learn how to sing that Neil high tenor at a very young age. Mm-hmm. When you hit puberty, about there.
In school.
The country of castrato.
Yeah. But I remember that LA one because Kevin Morby was up there too. Playing guitar.
He was up there because he was opening first of 3.
Yeah, he was first of 3.
Back when Morby was opening for you. Yeah.
Exactly. For
all of us.
Yeah.
I'm about to be on stage with him in a few days in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
What for?
Performing "If You See Her, Say Hello" by Bob Dylan.
Oh my God.
We're swapping verses. We're going back and forth.
This is our world now, isn't it? Kind of. It's kind of just like everybody's just doing.
What do you call it? Like legacy
full-blown,
reenactment
Grammy,
or something?
That's where. Yes.
Legacy. What is the term for it?
I like legacy reenactment. That's a good term.
That's basically what it is because it's a literal reenactment. They have members of the band that played on Blood on the Tracks that will be there at this in the house band at this show that I'm doing. Yeah. So I'll be we're quite literally reenacting.
We've reached this point in the career where we're doing this kind of like mini Grammys, concert for Bangladesh, like musical review,
Last Waltz,
12 guitars on stage. Like we're middle aged and we're still around, and we're still doing it. So this is kind of, these are the things that we're doing. I mean, the aforementioned show,
similar vibe
last week. 25 people on stage at once,
star-studded,
Shining Star,
Yeah. Okay, so I also saw a video of that show, Bleeker, that you were doing a Blues Traveler song. Am I right about this?
That's right.
Which one did you do?
It sounded really good.
We did Hook. We did
the only
Traveler's
one.
Hook, and we sang. Well, there's Runaround. There's also Runaround.
Oh my God!
No,
that's right.
there's also
Hook.
There's also the other one. There's another one.
Who did the rap bridge?
I'll have to send you the video, Martin. So it was me and Eric Slick sang lead. Eric Slick of Dr. Dog. Star-studded. Kind of B-list of indie rock and A-list of jam show. This was A- list of jam, if I'm being honest. And but A. But
you
not
had
A,
Mike.
Like. No Trey, but we love Mike though.
No Trey, but Mike.
Truly, but Mike. No Mayor. No Jerry.
No
Phil.
No Dead.
But we had Tom Constantin, who was technically in the Grateful Dead from 1968 to 1970, played on Live Dead and Oxa Moxa. So
wow.
Depending on who you ask.
Who's this Mike? He's in Fish? Mike's in Fish?
Mike Gordon, bass player Fish, graced us with his presence.
Wow.
We did a couple tunes with him.
Wow.
It was a big
pretty sick.
for
Actually,
me.
I really have questions about this. We can get into it. But unless you had something.
Oh no.
Did he show up with a full blast rig? What did he show up with? He brought his instrument. What else did he bring? Did he
didn't
give racks?
bring anything. He brought nothing. He employed his tech.
Okay.
His bass tech was a very, very lovely guy.
Cartage.
He was a very lovely guy. Yeah, so this guy is lives in Burlington, is employed by Fish full time, doesn't tour with them, but is just kind of manages the gear when they need it managed. And he brought down Mike's small rig, which was a full size stack, and two different rack units, and a truncated pedal board, which was about a yard wide. And
is this from their New York
next to my stack?
Do they have gear in every city, or is it?
I think
was that actually driven down from Burlington?
Burlington is HQ. Yeah, and so it was all ready to go by the time Mike was in the building. Yeah.
How did you feel with a member of
Fish,
playing bass right next to you? You know what I mean? Is this
honestly, earnestly, truly? Highlight of my musical life. Loved it. I love this guy and his music since I was a 13-year-old kid. We got to do a Fish tune together, a couple Fish tunes actually, depending on how you look at it. We played the song Possum, which the Fish community, if you're listening, I know you're out there. You got some Fish Head listeners for sure. It was.
Sure.
I moved over to rhythm guitar.
I see. That's what I was wondering, how you were going to manage the double bass.
Double bass.
I let the man handle the low end, because in these kind of celebrity shows, there's always room for guitar that nobody hears in the mix, and that's kind of what I was doing.
Right, right.
Yeah. But I was there.
That is.
I was he can
cool.
play bass, but I'm staying on stage, and I sang. I got to sing in harmony with him, which was sweet, man. It was about legacy reenactment. I was doing that,
You're reenacting. So wait, but you were up there. You've met him, right? In the past,
we've met casually.
But you've never
a couple
performed.
Times. Actually, Martin,
I've met him.
You'll
too.
like this. Well, you met him. He came to one of our real
gig.
estate shows to say hello in Burlington. But he's a man about town. He likes music, But he didn't really remember me. I met him a few times, and he would always, Martin, you'll appreciate this. You too, Johnny. He would look at me and just say, "Talking backwards."
Nice.
he really likes talking backwards. He likes the bass line on it. He likes the tune, and he was like, "Oh yeah, talking backwards, cool song," And,
nice.
I think he would like "Darling" too if he heard it, because it's kind of got that interesting timing thing, which is what those guys are
proggy.
into.
It seems like if you're a big shot rock star, as I'm assuming Mike is in many circles, and you meet people who are like on a tier lower than you musically, you usually, because I've had this too, like they know one song of yours that they really like and they always bring it up. It's kind of a thing. Like I heard that one tune, I love it. That's a good tune. You guys gonna play that tonight? You guys gonna play that?
Yeah.
That's like a celeb. Oh my god, celeb thing.
100%. Which that's true. This is reminding me, Bleeker, of when Rivers Cuomo performed with us in Los Angeles that one time.
Yeah, we've done a lot of this kind of thing, actually.
This kind of thing.
Yeah.
The whole story behind that is hilarious to me. Like, but
let's hear it.
You know,
our listeners need to hear the whole story.
He was paid to appear with us for sure.
There was for some reason there was some like money from like Red Bull or something.
It was a Red Bull event. Yes,
but it was our show. It was like a club show at the where was the show?
It was like one of those old theaters in LA that
Regent?
they might be not even doing, like kind of Belasco Regent, like that kind of vibe. And,
but they were like, "What? Who? We have some money for like something special to happen. You know, who do you want to ask to come guest?" And we're like, Neil Young. And they're like, "That's not
no."
And then we were like, I don't know, Rivers Cuomo. And then he showed up. But yeah, but it was like the
Rivers
opposite.
Cuomo was your number 2 pick?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we were just thinking LA. Well, Rivers
who's
Cuomo
in LA?
The importance of Rivers Cuomo on us, on mine and Martin's relationship, on the band Real Estate in general, it can't be understated.
Right.
Honestly, it cannot be understated.
Sure.
And like he's in LA, Beverly Hills. That's where he wants to be. You know, he's out there. He's an LA guy. You know.
Yeah.
But he showed up. We weren't even sure. We weren't sure if he was going to show. We were like sound checking. He wasn't there yet. We're like, is he going to come?
Well, he backed out. He backed out.
Yeah, he wasn't going to.
What?
And then at the last minute, it was like, Rivers is coming. Rivers is coming.
Yeah.
And then he showed up, and it was just him with like a guitar case. I don't even know if he had pedals. We were like, we have an amp for you. You can plug into that twin. And it was funny.
He backed out because like last minute, he got cold feet. Well, first he was like, he said yes, and we went through a whole thing with him, like, what song are we going to play, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, just before we're like, okay, cool, come to soundcheck, we'll rehearse it. And then during soundcheck, he texted Martin and was like, I'm really sorry, I just don't think I'm going to make it. Like, kind of like, I got to get up early kind of text, you know?
Right.
And then we were like, oh, man, bummer. Like, we really want it. We're looking forward to this kind of thing. I don't think it was us that got him over the line. I think somebody hit management and was like, we already paid, like, he's coming, you know, like, and
we'll give
cash up front,
throw in another $5K.
Yeah, they're like, they sent him a hired car, like he arrived with a driver in a black car. He had a dressing room in our green room, like his own guarded area. But he came out to like, because it was we were younger, you know, this is closer to the 2014 era that you remember being on tour with us on. So there were a lot of people in LA in the green room, like kind of hanging, like there was like a party back scene, and Rivers kind of came out, poked his head out, was looking at the hummus and stuff on the you know,
he asked
spread.
To see our rider. He said,
yes.
can I look at your rider? He wanted to see what we had.
He was like, I want to know what a band like you guys does. Like he never, even though he kind of like those first 2 records are upheld as this like alternative kind of proto emo like alt crossover albums, they were always a stadium band. You know, they probably played at like the Whiskey and the Roxy, and then they had a hit, and then stadiums like forever.
Course. Totally.
So he was like, "What are you guys touring?" Like he had this like anthropological interest in like,
he asked us, like,
a working band.
Yeah. How's this going for you guys? I remember him asking us that. How's this going for you guys? We're like, I don't know. Like,
and he was like,
it's going well, I guess.
And then one of us was like, what's it like when you tour? And he goes, I'll never forget this. He goes, we don't really tour anymore. We just cherry pick the shows with the most money and do those.
Wow.
Just like, so, yeah.
Wow.
Sweet. He literally let cherry pick. Yeah, he did
disarmingly honest, like to like respect, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that was quite a while ago. I'm not too sure if they have that kind of situation anymore.
Huge.
I think they've gotten bigger since then.
They went down though, and then came back, kind of. No,
Johnny, here's what I'm going to say: Rivers Cuomo, business acumen, 10.
Yeah,
through the roof.
That dude there's no reason that Weezer should still be like a stadium rock band. There's like the numbers don't add up. Like, but they're great. I just think he always understood the culture. Like everybody was like, Buddy Holly, the Blue Album. Like, why did they move from that? And that's because like that's what radio culture wanted, like good alternative rock music, and he provided that. And then the internet wants a cover of Toto, and he's got like a top 10 hit with a Toto's Africa cover too. Like he just
really.
Yes.
Wow, I'm out of touch with
you
this.
don't know this,
I just want to say though, like to me, this is kind of what we were talking about. It's indicative of like I feel like there was a bit of a drop off. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this whole legacy reenactment thing began a few years ago, and I feel like a lot of these bands are like not that they needed a resurgence, but I feel like perhaps
revival.
Like there's a revival in terms of like people who have money are back into going to see them on a big stage, and
Blink 182 is back.
It's kind of like they're all back, and like I remember like even maybe not Beck, but like I feel like there was even a kind of a lull in Beck's career, and then all of a sudden I saw he was headlining stadiums again, you know. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the sort of the teams of these bands are biding their time.
No disrespect to Beck, I have some industry insider, big indie rock confirmation that Beck Phoenix Wise Blood tour. I don't think it. I think they were a little big for their britches in some of those rooms.
Really,
that's what I heard. This is all hearsay. You know, just because you book a room doesn't mean you sell all the tickets. That's
Beck was, or all three acts.
That was the tour.
Yeah, the whole tour was
headlining.
It was Beck, Phoenix. When Wise Blood was True Support, it was like Beck, Phoenix co-headline.
And that tour wasn't big enough.
I don't think it was sold out. I don't think it was sold.
Kind of a weird bill.
You know.
Well, I saw Beck with Cage the Elephant and who was the other band? You know, it's Spoon and the Star Crawler. Is that what they're called?
Starfucker?
It's the girl lead singer who's like crazy punk energy.
Sunflower Bean. Wait, Starcrawler is a thing. That's a real band. I think they're managed by one of the guys from the Walkmen.
Yeah. But anyway,
this is the industry podcast now.
Yeah. So Beck went on last, but I got the impression that Cage the Elephant were the real headliner that day.
Yeah, they're like a radio rock. They have they've got a hit, right? I don't really know their deal. I just feel like they've got at least one really big hit. I think.
So but I wasn't sure if let's just say I wasn't sure if Spoon and Beck would have been able to sustain that crowd alone.
No way.
What you were saying.
I mean, Spoon, another magic trick. You know, that guy hanging around. You know, still.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like is it that the generation? Okay, I'm trying to like the people who were into these bands. Weezer's a bit older for sure, obviously.
I think Weezer is siloed in this. I think Weezer.
They're totally different because
stood the test of time. They've navigated the culture. But let's talk about all.
I'm just saying that like the people who were fans of these bands when they were. I don't want to say in their prime, but when they were kind of doing it in their prime.
New bands. When they were new bands.
When they were new bands. The fans.
I mean, be careful. You're talking to an aging indie rock.
No, but
right
you
now,
guys are like. I'll get to that. But the fans, when they went to the shows, they were young. They were in their 20s. They were going to the show. They were getting drunk. You know, the whole everything, and they were like in school or like starting out in their jobs. Now, fast forward 15, 20 years, they're in their 40s, 50s, kicking off their careers. And, you know, a lot of them are making money finally. And they're like, oh, I don't want to see any new music, really. I just want to go see Spoon and Weezer and all these bands. And so then sort of supply and demand, these big tours are happening, legacy reenactments back, you know?
I think it never left. I think it's just like, this is our Motown. You know?
There's a bunch of levels to it, because there's that, and there's like the bands, the fans kind of probably drop off the planet for a while there because they're having kids and like or whatever. Right. They're not going out, and then it's true. Then so there's that lull. I think I also think a lot of bands kind of similar to where this band is at. I mean, we're obviously still. We had a big. We kind of went hard last year. We put a record out and toured a lot, but I think sort of necessarily right now, I've got young kids. And like, I feel like we're in a time right now in a band. I think a lot of bands, if they either end or they have to kind of pump the brakes for a minute for like like the Walkmen, who we just mentioned. They took a 10-year break. I think they all had like started families and then got back, and then their kids got like old enough where they're like, all right, I can travel again. And so that now they're back, going hard. I don't know.
We're looking for our big, it's like we're waiting. We're about 10 years out from the big revival. Like we're gonna blow up on like Red Flag or whatever that new Chinese app is in a decade with the kids, and then
there's a new app.
Well, that's the whole. If James were here, he'd probably get into that. TikTok. TikTok was banned.
TikTok's back
for a second. TikTok's back. For a minute, everybody started downloading another Chinese app. Like the government was like, "Oh shit, you can't stop them."
This one's even sketchier.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
go back to TikTok.
But in terms of real estate, I just have to say, Alex business acumen Bleeker. I think that this whole kind of pivot into like you're climbing the jam ladder like 2 rungs at a time right now, as far as I can see.
That's my 401k. That's what
I mean. And this is all the tentacles connect to real estate, and then you and Martin go way back with Fish. I know that, and then now this is all going to tie together, and it's a very smart pivot at the age we're all getting to versus kind of just like, okay, the kids are grown up. Let's put on the leather pants and get back out there the way we used to.
Yeah, well, here's what I'll say. Jam has a longer runway, a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Than indie, because it's not based on the whims of the sort of like the I don't know what it is anymore, but the sort of pitchforkian tastemakers out there,
100%. It's not trying to be cool. No one really cares if it's cool.
It's not trying to be cool. And it's actually becoming cool. Finally, because in a slant way.
You hope so. You sure
I saw Beach House at a Fish show. I know James is a friend of the pod, but it was the whole band.
What happened with Beach House?
They were. Last time I ran into the whole band all together was at a Fish show in Colorado.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's a veritable who's who at these Fish shows these days.
It might just be that I followed a couple Fish-centric accounts recently, but I have seen
Fish on Film. Are you shouting out Fish on Film right now?
Yeah, Fish on Film. Yeah.
Case in point, Fish on Film, kind of an influencer. A musical influencer of. Yeah, he just profiled the Sam's record that you.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite record of the year. That was nice.
So he's
Sam is jam adjacent.
Yeah.
Though his position in the shred, which is a ways back now, he's not going to shake that for some time.
I think we're losing Martin here, But all this to say, you got to be jam adjacent. You got to be jam adjacent in this economy. It's a wise move.
I wish I had that in my back pocket. Let me tell you.
Well, you do. I've always thought I said back in the day that I got a little bit of a. I mean, if you're talking like feelies. A lot of the kind of krautrock stuff, the rhythms and the guitar patterns you guys have been tackling for decades now. That's jam music a bit to me.
Television.
Yeah,
we could be a jam band in the tradition of television.
Television, of course, obviously. Yeah.
And we currently in Julian Lynch have an outlier shredder lead guitar player. Like there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
We've always maybe a little tongue in cheek in the early years, but we've always been like definitely. Well, I mean, we used to jokingly say we were a jam band, but also we jam. I mean, we occasionally jam, and there are sections of our songs that are built to be improvisational. So there's it's not like we completely eschew that.
We're not a jam band, but we're a band that jams.
Yeah. And you don't sway.
I think more so than a lot of indie rock bands,
100%.
Definitely. I always thought that, and even though it's not that kind of slinky, dead style sway to it jamminess, it's like, it's more arranged, focused jamming, Yeah.
Focused jamming. I love that.
Yeah. But...
Would you to bring it back around, the band, not a jam band, however, very jam adjacent.
They're
in terms of the culture.
They're sort of like Americana, like folky, like they would not be out of place at any of those jam.
They had a real kinship with the Dead. They loved each other,
I see. I don't know about that. That's interesting.
They're kind of like the Woodstock, New York, Marin County, like they're like sort of like equal opposites of each other in a way.
Interesting. Yeah, those communities. Yeah. I think the band, don't really jam, but they're kind of like, they're fully capable. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and they'll be willing, like, they can improvise just like without even knowing the song. It's more, anytime you back Dylan, it's like, it's kind of like he might just start writing a song on the spot, and you got to be able to just kind of improv the whole song from scratch.
Basement Tapes is a jam.
It's a jam, essentially. That's what I mean. Like, Dylan's jamming the lyrics. He's the featured soloist with his vocals, essentially. Imagine he's Jerry.
Yes, he is. He's rapping.
That's what it is, because no one really solos, and they're just kind of backing him in, like, wherever direction he's taking the jam, right?
100%.
Seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. I've been reading. I'm finishing my Dylan on Dylan book. I'm rereading it, which is a selection of his interviews that are really, really good.
Do you think they're going to republish that book with Timothée Chalamet included? Either a forward by Timothée Chalamet, or like him, because Timothée Chalamet put out a reviewed Bob Dylan record this year. Like he kind of he is really assuming, like, he's kind of eschewing it, but he's like, I am Dylan a little bit. Like, that he's got that. Like, he's like,
someone's going to interview him as Dylan.
Yeah, like
Bob Dylan.
He's going to like speak as having absorbed Dylan more than anyone else or something.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, when Bob Dylan sold his songwriting, his publishing, and likeness to Sony for $400 million, he gave Timothée Chalamet every right to be Bob Dylan.
Legally speaking.
I think he's legally allowed to be Bob Dylan now, and I think Bob Dylan would agree with that if we asked him. Yeah. He'd be like, in this interview I read last night, there's this crazy guy. Do you guys know about A.J. Weberman?
No.
He's a famous Dylanologist from the 60s who I think was more like a borderline stalker of Bob Dylan. And he famously like went through his trash outside his house a bunch and would like write essays about what was in his trash. And he taught at like a Dylan course at a college and would like bring 50 people to his house and just like stand outside. And I think Dylan, it was one of those like, he kept him close, like he'd throw him a few crumbs and like invite him for lunch.
Smart, because you don't want to get like a Mark David Chapman vibe. It's like, we're friends, it's cool. Yeah.
Right. And so one of the interviews in the book is by this guy, and it's like, it's scary. It's a bit scary. Like, it's like the way he writes it and stuff. And he considers himself like the world's great interpreter of Dylan's lyrics and all this stuff. But yeah, there's one part that he says to him. He's like, he's like, why can't you just be Bob Dylan for everybody the way they want you to be? And he's like, I'm not Bob Dylan, you're Bob Dylan. So he's doing that even way back then, you know what I mean? I think he'd be the first to say, I'm not Timothée Chalamet's Bob Dylan. It's like Ronaldo and Clara and all that. Like, who plays Bob Dylan in Ronaldo and Clara? Ronnie Hawkins. And then, I think he likes that stuff.
Yeah, I've actually never seen it.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
Want to see it. Seen some clips on Instagram. That's it, though.
Yeah, 4 hours long, so settle in. But we did like about 10 episodes on the A Complete Unknown movie, Bleeker. And
I know, and I James and I saw it together.
I know.
So I was surprised not to be able to weigh in.
Well, let me give you the floor for a second, and Martin, you too, if you've seen it, just to kind of give the people your sort of Roger Ebert quick review here.
Did James discuss the person that we met before the film?
Yeah, he was kind of a boomer guy who was there, and
he was like, that's kind of what stands out to me the most is a little background is I was up in Vancouver for Christmas. Didn't get to see Johnny because it's getting harder to put it together. But I needed to sneak away from the in-laws, who are great, but I just needed a minute to myself. And James and I went to a matinee of A Complete Unknown together.
Great time.
It was great. And we got in there and it was packed. It was like opening weekend. We had to sit in the front, like second row, and full of boomers. And this guy says to James, something like he was trying to big man us a little bit. He was like, because he was seeing,
as they do.
Like, we were young. He was like, "When's the last time you guys saw him?" Or something. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I was like, Frost Amphitheater, Stanford, 2019, with that really good musical, great show. He played Highway 61, played guitar,
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting that answer from us, and he was like, I saw him like, while he was rehearsing for the Rolling Thunder Review tour just down the road, like 1974 or whatever, and we're like, oh wow, amazing. And then like James was like, never happened. And then like he was like, but the thing that he said was like, my wife wanted to come to the movie, so I'm here, but I'm a little skeptical. I was like, I hear, Chalamet does a pretty good job. Like, he performs everything live or whatever. And he's like, well, he was, his guitar playing. He was, in the early years, Bob Dylan was a session player, before his own career.
Yeah.
He was like, Bob Dylan was a session guy. And I wonder if
he was a session really harmonica player.
He was like, I wonder if he's going to be able to like emulate his like, session. Technical ability.
Oh my God, his chops.
When was he a session guitarist?
I don't know, but it's weird. He does mention in this book. I heard that story, and I also didn't think that was real. But then in this book, he does talk about playing on some session guitar on some rock and roll, like in the early. I
recently heard some. Maybe it was an interview with what's her name? The woman that's like on the cover of his first record, his girlfriend at the time.
Oh yeah, Susie Rotolo.
Yeah, right. It was like a fresh air interview. I think this was. I mean, he's everywhere, or everyone's talking about Dylan. So I don't remember. Yeah. I'm getting it all crossing my wires here, but I think it was her that was saying he like in the very early days he would play harmonica on people's recordings. Like he was like a harmonica session player, and he'd just
impressive
honking that horn in the studio. I did not see this movie, and I do actually want to. This is my good. Well, this is my whole. The only thing I have to say about it is exactly this, which is like I'm confused by like people like the two of you and other people whose like musical sort of opinions I really respect. Being like, it's actually pretty good.
I think it was impressively not bad.
It looks so bad. I mean, the trailers are so like. Like they make his song, they give him like the cinematic treatment to the songs. They like add like, and it's like, it's like so cringy. But I'm sure it's affecting.
Don't think it's good. I want to backtrack here a little bit. I don't think it's good, but I think it's impressively not bad. Like it looked so bad. The trailers made it look so bad. We were all going in ready for it to be like laughably bad, and I think it's a success in the fact that like it's not, and legitimately as funny as the character he is off screen. Like Chalamet, I think at least musically does a really impressive job of learning to sing and play the parts, and it's all shot live and stuff. I think that's cool, but the movie itself, like, it's not good. Yeah. I think the bar was just really low,
pretty low.
So it's like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. It's kind of where I came away.
For me, Martin, and maybe you'll have this experience too, and our listeners certainly know this about my experience. But it was Christmas. I went solo. I went by myself, which, as you know, as a father, as I am now, that, to get out to a movie by yourself, that's kind of a rare treat.
It's heaven.
But
heaven.
I felt
so rare.
I said, I have to go for the podcast. It's part of my work. I have to go see this,
Yeah,
and
true.
so we were doing a big review episode on it the next day. So I went to a pizza place, had a couple slices, couple pints of beer. I was kind of dressed Dylan-y. I had like some leather boots on and a long jacket, and I sort of like kind of slunk into the theater. And there was one seat left on the seat map in the back right corner. The people in front of me couldn't go. And I was like, is there one seat left there? And they were like, yeah, it's one. And I was like, I'll take it. So it was right where I wanted to sit in the back in the corner, you know? And I just enjoyed being in the kind of Dylan-y vibe of the world. The movie was probably horrible, but because I love Bob Dylan in the mid-'60s so much, if the moments where I let myself just be like, damn, he's like wearing the glasses and riding around on a motorcycle, and then he's on stage doing this. Oh, I love that song. It was easy for people like us, I think, to kind of be like, this is cool. And then when
it's
you
cool
think
to live
about
in live in that world. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do. Yeah. I actually, my initial reaction was to like just the early trailers or whatever. It was like, this looks horrible. But then, yeah, it's like yeah. I'm interested in seeing it. I actually was thinking I wanted to try and see it because I'm going to have like a Dylan-y end of my week at this show in Tulsa. I was like, I should see the movie before I go to the thing, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if I'll have time.
It will. I will say it got me way, like everybody else, got me way back into listening to that era.
Oh, I'm obsessed.
Obsessed.
That's cool.
So
Buy my turntables, all Dylan records right now.
Well, it's just kind of
great. I mean, I've also been, I've been partially because of the movie, partially because of this gig I'm doing. I've been listening to a lot of Dylan.
I think No Direction Home, the coolest Bob Dylan movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's my number one.
Really good. Really good.
And the fact that it deals with the exact same era of this narrative film, but just like somewhat exhaustively and actually like is like
it's way better, obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Have you seen the Rolling Thunder one?
Yeah.
That's good too.
Kind of interesting. That one's like, what's fact, what's fiction?
Made that, right?
Was Sharon Stone even really there, man? Like,
that was another Scorsese documentary, right?
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
That one moves more into the like, you can never know Bob Dylan. Like the most basic take. You know, like the Pitchfork headline, which I had to just look at of their review of Timothée Chalamet singing Bob Dylan, which I got turned on because you guys posted.
Yeah, got a better review than Bob Dylan's recent live
and
album.
It was like, you might think that this is just like a schlocky kind of Bob Dylan karaoke, but like Chalamet delivers a performance of an iconic figure who was himself always acting. You know, it's like a like false high-minded take that like Dylan was always obscuring his identity, like blah blah blah. But that's kind of the Rolling Thunder one. They like really lean into that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's probably better when Dylan does that himself than
yes.
But yeah, I don't know. People are really into that soundtrack. They're pressed vinyl and everything, which just seems unnecessary somewhat to me. But
just another. I mean, it's so funny. There's every year there's like the big movie that clogs up the record vinyl industry. Like it's like, well, I'm sorry, your record's not going to come out for another 6 months because we have to press 400,000 like Shrek, LPs. Like there's like the one every year. Like,
well, you know what's coming, Bruce. The boss.
Yeah, I know. That's
my God. Yeah.
What's his name? The guy from the Bear is playing the boss.
Yeah.
I'm not so
sure about. Yeah.
I don't think Jonah Hill as Jerry's ever going to happen.
And with Scorsese too.
I know. I think it's. Do you
think that was just like a troll in the first place?
Like, it was excited about it. I think they were excited about it, and like the rights are sold or whatever. But it's kind of. I think it's.
Is that based on a book or something? Do you know? Like,
I have no idea. I mean, there's tons of dead source material out there, but I kind of loosely heard that it was going to go from like the dawn of the dead to the closing of Winterland, which is like 78. So, Haight Ashbury to like 1980 kind of vibe. That's a lot of ground to cover.
Well, Jonah Hill kind of derailed that himself, didn't he? With some sort of weird stuff he was doing, allegations.
The hard, soft cancellation of Jonah
Hill. Yeah. Martin, I want to know about this show in Tulsa. Is this a Bob Dylan thing or the band kind of thing?
It's a Dylan thing. It's a friend of mine named Doug who played in a band that my like solo band when I put out a solo record 10 years ago. Yeah. He lives out there, and I guess I didn't really understand why, but there's a Bob Dylan center in Tulsa. And now I I realized, or I found out that it's because there's a Woody Guthrie. There was already a Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa. He's like from there, and they asked Dylan like, where do you want your center to be? And he said like right next to the Woody Guthrie Center. So that's why it's in Tulsa.
Still ahead, just a deep Woody head.
He's deep Woody head. But anyway, it's like a 50th anniversary celebration for Blood on the Tracks, which just came out, yesterday, 50 years ago yesterday.
Everything's
January 20th.
Dylan-y as fuck right now.
Dylan-y as fuck. But yeah, it's cool. I don't know what the deal is going to be. It's like, it's being emceed by Luke Wilson for some reason.
Right on.
Michael Shannon
I met him, nice guy.
Who is... You met Luke Wilson?
Yeah, we were on a TV show together called Roadies that filmed in Vancouver. It was a show about roadies for some band, and he was one of the roadies. But they hired a bunch of real musicians to play like background guitar techs and things like that.
Yeah.
And Cameron Crowe insisted on it being
real musicians,
authentic, Yeah. So we were there in the background, but we hung out. He's a nice guy. Continue.
Great. There's not much more to it. I mean, it's so we're like they're getting like there's a house band, and then they have all these guests, like myself, but then also there's like much more famous people than me, like Elvis Costello is going to be there, and I don't know. So we do the whole
Elvis
record
Costello.
front to back.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kevin Morby.
You mentioned
Adam from
Dylan-y.
War on Drugs.
Also Dylan-y.
Lucinda Williams.
Very Dylan-y.
Lucinda
Amy Ray from
legend.
the Indigo Girls.
Okay. That's cool. Jam. Indigo Girls, I think, are a bit
more
jam.
Lilith Fair, jam adjacent,
Granola, 90s granola folk rock.
Femme jam.
We were talking about whether there were any femme jam bands the other day on the pod, and somebody wrote Indigo Girls, but
not a jam band. Really.
Not really.
No.
Folk, yeah.
Ani DeFranco, kind of the patron, not a jammer either, but like, Michaela Davis.
Yeah, Michaela Davis, who you've extracted from the shred.
Crossover episode.
It's collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Martin, you're doing If You See Her Say Hello. Great song. Sundown, Yellow Moon. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the final verse.
Are you gonna sing like him? Like, how do you do it?
I'm just gonna sing. I'm just gonna sing.
I'm all right. Things get kind of slow.
It's funny because I'm performing with Morby, who kind of, sort of. Is Dylan-ish. He's got a Dylan-y thing going on in his voice sometimes.
He's our Bob Dylan.
He's kind of the Dylan of our generation, is how Bleeker says it.
Yeah, I was reflecting on. I mean, no disrespect to Morby, obviously,
no,
at all. Like that's how he sings.
He's not listening. He's not.
And same with. I was just reflecting on him and Adam from War on Drugs, who both have a Dylan-y twang to their voice, are both going to perform at this thing. No, I'm just going to sing like me.
Nice. That's pretty
I wanted
Dylan-y
to do.
move.
That's Dylan-y.
Yeah, that's more Dylan-y.
Yeah. I wanted to do. You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go, because it's short. I was like, I need to claim a short one right away, because I don't want to get stuck with like a really long one, and because it's
Jack of Hearts, Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts. Like, nobody wants that one.
They're like, sorry, but Elvis Costello's doing You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome. You got to pick a different one.
Who's getting tangled up in blue?
I'd love to. I can't be saddled with,
Do you know who's getting what song? Do you know who's getting which songs?
I'm not sure. I'm going to find it. I'm actually...
Lucinda
would be good. Would be good for
if I were performing, which I wasn't invited to perform at this, but if I was, I would have chosen You're a Big Girl Now. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that was also on my list of possible tunes that I would do. And then there's a second set where you play, like where each guest like picks like a song anywhere, a song from his catalog, from the catalog.
Dylan.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do Mississippi for that one from time. oh my God, from the record from 2001. The one that
Love
came
and
out
Theft?
on 9/11. Yeah, Love and Theft, Mississippi, Love and Theft. Yeah,
Nice. Right on.
which is a great song. But yeah, I don't know. I was kind of like pretty nervous about it, and I was like, I got to learn all these lyrics and like because I don't want to mess up.
Teleprompter?
Well, initially no. So like, and then last week after I spent like, I've been thinking about this thing for like 5 months. Like I started, cause I was like, I need to get these songs like in my bones cause I really don't want to mess this up. So I know them, front to back. And then last week, Doug texted me and was like, there's going to be a teleprompter, by the way. And I was like, okay, great.
Yeah, but don't look at the teleprompter, man.
Yeah,
Just look at
exactly.
Morby vibe out,
Yeah.
Yeah, also,
fun.
that's
Honestly,
a pretty
I was
easy
like,
one. Like the phrasing of it is like it's pretty easy to remember the phrasing of that one. I think
It's funny though because once you try to learn these songs and then perform them in a way that feels natural, it's kind of hard, because you don't want to do a Dylan impression, but then he has such a very specific way of delivering his lines,
Yeah.
And sometimes he crams a lot of words in there, so you got to like make it sound natural.
I don't know. Do you guys think they invited Chalamet to this? I think they did.
Probably.
I told Doug, I was like, you gotta get Chalamet. You gotta get Chalamet in there.
They definitely sent his manager publicist a note.
He might be a surprise guest.
He's been doing that. He shows up.
I know. Well, he's doing SNL.
Awesome.
He's doing SNL twice, double SNL.
As Bob Dylan.
He's doing SNL as Timothy Chalamet and Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because the way they announced it, they were like, host, Timothy Chalamet, musical guest, Timothy Chalamet. But I think it would have been cool if they were just like, musical guest, Bob Dylan. And it's Timothy Chalamet.
I've been saying this for weeks now on this show. Huge missed opportunity that he's not just hitting the road as Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Just get out there at Bob Dylan, wear the glasses, same band that played on the thing, U.S. tour, world tour, whatever. Sell it out. He'd have a blast. I'm not even joking. Do it.
Arenas.
Yeah. He'd have a blast doing it. He'd love it. Everyone would love it. Everyone would love it. I think it's a big missed opportunity.
Would you go? I might go.
I mean, if we could get press passes.
If we could go for work at Vancouver,
100% I'd go. Yeah.
I think Dylan's going back on tour again, or at least he announced one show.
Never-ending tour
today, so we'll see.
We should talk about Garth though a little bit. We haven't really said much about poor Garth.
Respect to Garth. I met him.
What?
Once. Yes, I met Garth.
Let's hear that.
He was like around. We
played with him. Yeah.
Where did we play with him?
So we played this tiny little festival.
It was Huachica East?
Huachica East in the Hudson Valley. And the festival itself, great lineup, didn't really take off. But Garth was on the bill at this kind of dairy farm, appropriately, in the Hudson Valley, up in upstate New York. And they put Garth on the bill. And it was like a really strange, like nobody really came to this little off the beaten path festival, but it was cool. We made the most of it. Real Estate played. And then there was like, they were doing like a soundtracking, like a kind of a cool, like SYR, Sonic Youth, not them, but like Steve Shelley was in the band, a couple other cool people like, we're going to like live soundtrack this like horror film. It wasn't Dario Argento, but it was that kind of vibe, like sort of soundtracking. And Garth played DX7 in that band, which was amazing, and he was like crushing it, doing like synthy stuff, and everything was behind. It was like really late and misty, and I'm talking like maybe 45 to 70 people.
Wow. I think I had maybe pieced out by this point because I had my kids there.
If you had kids, you had to go. Like it
it was late,
way off schedule. Yeah. And Garth Brooks headlined. Garth Hudson.
Do you know what? Just very briefly, when you texted R.I.P. Garth, Johnny, I was like, Garth Brooks. Fuck, that's weird.
Chris Gaines.
I was like, damn.
That's a different podcast.
And then, so Garth was, obviously out of respect and in that region and everything, the headliner. And it took a long time. And he was really, later in life, he was really, really hunched over and had a cane, and he kind of was playing it up. He had a big hat, looked huge white beard, extremely wizard-like, and he was kind of escorted to the stage with, I'm pretty sure, his wife or partner, some kind of life partner, but her name was Sister Maud.
Yeah, okay.
And it was the two of them, and they got up, and Garth played. He was pretty much non-verbal seeming.
Yeah.
And he was just hunched over his DX7, just DX7.
Wow.
Playing
super sick.
Playing the band tunes. Like playing old tunes kind of in a Dylan-y way. Like rhythm was a little different, like kind of classical genius. They called him Maestro, Maestro brain.
Sure.
And he played, and Sister Maud, his partner, sang in this kind of like husky, alto, beautiful, and we all sang well-known the band songs together, this group of like 30 of us on this farm.
So fun. That's sweet.
And it felt really special. It was really, really cool. And and he was like backstage hanging, non-verbal, but hanging there, like just, he was around. It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I was definitely not there. Actually, this is the first time I'm hearing this story.
It was cool. I think if you look at the Folk because this was a Folk show, California promoter.
Sure.
And Britt actually texted me today like a video of it, and was like, I'm thinking of this performance. It's cool that you guys played. So I've got a feeling he maybe posted it. Go have a look on Instagram. It might be up there. You might be able to see this.
I will.
Yeah.
I saw a video there today of him in that same kind of era and state getting a tour. It's from some cool documentary about him I'd like to watch, getting a tour. They took him back to Big Pink and showed him around, and
I saw that.
He's explaining where everything is, and it gave me chills, man. It was so cool, like going down in the basement, and I was like, man, that's got to be one of the, just the most artistic spaces when you do the if these walls could talk kind of vibe.
Do you know it's on VRBO? Do you know it? Do you know that?
Yeah.
I
know. It's like it's the ultimate. Like, I mean, it's I live in the Hudson Valley. It's like the ultimate, like, just whatever example of that type of thing. Like the tourist attraction, like the magic of Woodstock,
legacy reenactment. I got an idea to pitch, because Johnny, you keep talking about this record you want to make. I just want to get a bunch of my friends together, and it'll be really chill, and you'll write the songs, and it'll be easy, and it'll be like a good hang kind of record.
Exactly.
Let's do it at Big Pink, baby. Let's get the VRBO, rent it out.
Well, no, they say I heard about it. Yeah. I heard about it. The basement's like padlocked off. You can't go in the basement. I've read about it.
You can.
Why rent it?
I don't know.
We can record at Levon's, though. Levon's is available and accessible, and we have connections.
Guys, you know what? I'm sick of this legacy reenactment bullshit.
We gotta make our own memories.
I got a barn right here on my property. We can turn into. Let's make our own fucking legacies out here.
Yeah, man. I'm in my studio right now. I'm in my church basement.
But that being said, really cool that you guys are doing the whole legacy reenactment thing. All that being said.
We made it.
We're reenacting 90s indie rock.
I want to just talk for the final 5 minutes here about your band Real Estate, and because I think we had Bleeker on. Oh no, maybe we didn't. But when James and I came to your show in Vancouver, I loved it. It was one of the most fun shows of yours I'd ever seen. And I thought that there was an element of humor, a fresh element of humor to the band. Like maybe there was you had some games going with the crowd. There was sort of a carnival sort of element to the show.
That was the first show of, other than we did a show the night before, but that was the first show of this year, basically this big year that we had.
The band was in high spirits.
We were really having a good time.
The vibe was high. The show was sold out. The theater was cool. It was a great show.
But I will say...
Wait, just
you go ahead, Johnny.
You were doing maybe you did a Weezer cover, I believe.
Yeah, it's possible.
And the sweater song, and maybe the covers you were doing were even sort of a crowd participation, fan participation, like they could vote and you do them. Was that a thing?
Well, we did that the day before. We played a bingo show.
Oh yeah.
So the night before, we the whole set was set up with a big bingo board, and we were rolling the balls, and balls were corresponding to certain things that we were doing. But that energy carried through.
Yeah,
that energy.
I could also see us being like, should we could play a cover right now, or and asking the crowd, getting people riled up.
Play that Weezer song on that leg of the.
I'm sure we did.
But so I guess my question is, I loved it personally. I also noticed a massive sea change in your Instagram account. It got a little wittier, a little bit more, dare I say, kind of dad jokey. A little bit, you know what I mean? And was this a deliberate move for you guys to be like, we're getting a little older, we're kind of making a comeback here in a new way. Let's have a little fun with it and have a few laughs while we're at
100%.
it. Yeah,
you can't take it too seriously. Yeah. We've always made jokes, as you know.
Yeah, I know.
So now we're just more public about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think also like it's just we spent 5 years kind of like not doing much. I mean, then we made this record and we got all excited. It's exciting. We've been excited to be a band again, and touring has been exciting, and playing shows, especially at that moment, like basically this time last year, we were super amped up, just like, psyched to be back on the road and psyched to, the music is good. And it's like that dynamic's really nice in the band, like Sammy's great. And it's just, I feel like we're all just having a good time.
It's a good vibe in the band right now. And we're going on tour in like a week.
Let's hear about it.
Come out.
Where are you guys going? Where are you guys going?
We're starting in our beloved home state of New Jersey. We're playing,
nice.
We're playing. Kicks off in Jersey City. Ends in Woodstock, New York, at the recently reopened Bearsville Theater. Maybe we'll honor Garth a little bit. Who knows? Maybe we'll do the Wait with the whole crew. We'll bring our crew of one on the stage.
Nice.
And we should do a sing the Wait.
Yeah. You should.
And so that would be fun. And in between, we're going up to Buffalo. We're kind of making a skinny loop,
just northeast.
But we're getting all the way down south. We're going to Houston and like New Orleans and looping back around through the southeast.
Do you know what day we're playing Houston, Texas?
I can tell you right now. Give me a second.
I'll tell you.
Yourselves.
We're playing Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh yeah, and
so we'll be playing to about 50 people, maybe.
Yeah, and Houston.
Good thing Houston
is still
lost.
In it.
No, they lost.
They did lose. Thank God.
Lost.
They're out.
Good for you guys.
Fucking God, they lost for us. That would have been insane. That would actually been comically amazing.
Yeah.
If they were in the Super Bowl and we were playing, and this is a makeup show because the last time we tried to play in Houston, a tornado literally hit the venue that we were playing in, and we had to cancel the show.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So now Super Bowl Sunday sounds good.
I played a show only once on Super Bowl Sunday in LA, and it was a stressful day.
I think we should just embrace it. Like watch the Super Bowl backstage, hang out,
and you'll be
on the screen behind us while we play. Just have the Super Bowl.
We'll get those couple of people
who
are
like dad level.
Think it's still
pretty
cool.
dad.
People who think it's cool to create a false dichotomy between sports and music, sports ball, like those guys will be there.
Oh my God!
We'll get those guys for sure.
Well, the game will be over by about 8:00, so I'd imagine you're on after that.
That's true,
right?
That's true.
Well, we're just gonna go hard with it, like after the game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
after the game,
Yeah.
Who? Yeah, it's this tour, man. This tour we're playing Buffalo, New York on February 2nd. Like I'm kind of
the Bill's still in it too.
Bills, they'll be fired up.
If that's a game day, we're fucked.
We're
fucked.
Well, it's only Sundays now.
I'm more referring to the treacherous drives / it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be brutal.
Once we get out of the Midwest, we're in the clear. As long as we don't hit blizzard, which my track record, we probably will. But as long as we don't
have a good track record with that, yeah.
We got a new album coming up or what?
Just trying to stay working, Johnny.
Stay working. Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to plug everything.
We do have some shit in the can. We got some stuff in the can. It's not announced yet, but we got some stuff coming up. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, there's stuff happening, and then I'm writing, and I'm always writing, but I'm also whatever trying to get into your lane, Johnny. Do a little producing, a little production work.
Nice
with other people. That's
very
been fun.
Rewarding.
Super
rewarding.
fun. I've been doing a little bit of that. Super fun. But I'm really loving it, but it's distracting me from what I should be doing, which is writing.
I'm actually in that mode right now because I'm mixing a big record for somebody, and I have a lot of writing to do to get back into because I have a record done that I think I sent it to you guys. Yeah, I did, and that I sort of sat on because I had a baby, and I felt like I didn't want to like release an album the year I had a baby and make my life too much about me that year. You know what I mean? It felt a little bit like, so now I've got to get that out, and then I have to write more songs, but I'm mixing. And I know what you mean. I was talking about that this morning, that it's really like, I think I need to do like, okay, I'm going to mix for 3 or 4 days and then write for 3 or 4 days. Because trying to do it all in the same day and be a dad and shower and make lunch and stuff doesn't really work out.
It's not possible. Especially it's going to get harder when your kids got places to be and stuff.
I know, exactly.
I have like a very short window to get stuff done. But
well, that's cool though that you're writing. And are you guys thinking you'll record in Nashville again when you do another record?
Hard to say.
Because I want to say right now, come on up here. We'll do it in my barn, Big Pink style.
That would be cool.
Bring James over, set everything up, do it real.
Fuck it, man.
Yeah, dude.
I like it. I love it. Beautiful. I know you live in a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah,
I do love the Pacific Northwest.
Well, maybe I'll do my kind
of Canada.
I'll set it up and do my kind of basement tapes thing in there first and get it kind of warmed up for you guys. And then once you hear the record, then you'll be like, damn, we better get up there.
Eyewall Records. We'll get James to master.
Exactly.
You know?
James, he'll do anything and everything on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway,
I'm gonna let him play bass. Actually, I'm just gonna kind of coach him. You know,
I'm just
like a Walter Becker kind of figure. Like, you play, you're better than me, but it's me. Play like me. You know.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget about when there was talk there for a second that I was going to come and be Martin on the European tour a couple.
I think
years
that's
ago.
I think it's a plausible solution to touring as you get older. You know.
Yeah. My understudy.
Yeah.
I mean, Chalamet's paving the way, dude. He's paving the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. I'm ready. So it's all I do is sit around and play those guitar parts, just waiting. So. Okay, guys. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for coming on, Martin and Alex of Great Real Estate and Taper's Choice, and now of this Bob Dylan tribute show next week. If you're in Tulsa, don't miss this. Martin's been practicing for months. Yeah. And you know what I think you should do is sing it like you, and then talk like Dylan. Before and after the song, be like, "Hey, everybody, thanks for having me on." Yeah, and then be like, "If you see her, say yeah."
That's good.
All right, guys. Well, hope you'll come back on again, Martin, and James will be back on Sunday.
Anytime.
Thanks for listening.
All right, bye, Johnny.
See ya.